Do you own Haaland? Do you own Foden? Do you own Cancelo? Kevin De Bruyne? James Maddison? Maybe some Arsenal players, and you're wondering what to do? Maybe this week you could free hit. If you're looking for advice on what to do, this video should guide you through the free hit. So you've decided it. You're going to free hit. But you might have some questions about what a free hit is. So the free hit allows for unlimited transfers in a single game week. This means you can make as many transfers as you want. Doesn't impact it. There's no hits. It's a free hit. After that, one thing to consider is saved transfers will be lost and you will go back to the team from the previous game week. So let's say this game week you bring in a player that you've wanted for a few weeks. Like let's say you bring in Salah and then after it you're like, oh, I really want to keep him. You have to make that transfer again the next game week to bring him back in. That is something to consider. After that, no value is gained from transfers you make during this game week because all the players go back to wherever they believe or wherever they exist. And with that, that means that you don't gain value from any transfers you make this week, while your old team is losing value. Bit of a headache, but it is part of the parcel with the free hit. As well as that, no extra transfers. So let's say you had banked 2 transfers from last week because you didn't make a transfer. Why would you do that? It means that you will not have that once the game week ends. You'll go back to 1 free transfer. These are all the things to consider when doing a free hit. It is a great way to get through blank game weeks as well. There is something to consider. There will be more blank game weeks. So if you can navigate through this game week with a -4 or maybe even a -8, you might be better off just going with that. Playing with 9 or 10 players isn't the end of the world, so I guess if you do have 6 players from Man City and from Arsenal and then James Maddison, our player is injured. If you are liking the video, make sure you click like on it. Also leave a comment. Click subscribe. It helps the channel grow. Also turn on notifications so you don't miss a video just like this. So yeah, now I'm going to be going through a selection of players that I would choose on a free hit. In goal, first off, I'm going to choose Vicente Guaita. Clean sheet in game week 11 as Leicester faced off against Crystal Palace. Made 6 saves and got 3 bonus points. In that game, Crystal Palace weren't great offensively, but Vicente Guaita kept them in the game against a Leicester side who had plenty of shots. My second choice keeper on the bench is going to be the same goalkeeper who was in that game, Ward. But he's going to be on the bench anyway. It was a pretty boring game overall, but Vicente Guaita kept them in the game. In their game this week, they're up against Wolves at home. Wolves are so impotent when attacking, and they have Diego Costa, who hasn't posed a threat in attack for probably 2 or 3 years. Instead of being Wolves, they should be called puppies. Why not like this? The bookies have priced Crystal Palace at only a 30% chance of keeping a clean sheet this game week, but I would personally think it's a lot more likely against a Wolves side, which look profligate. Looking at my own model, I've priced them at 54% chance of keeping a clean sheet, and I think that's probably more representative of reality. Next up anyway, I'm going to be talking about my first defender, and it is Kieran Trippier. Trippier has been one of those players this season who just keeps on performing. He keeps on getting points, and he's only blanked twice this season. That is an insane number. As in, he's pretty much getting 6, 5, 7, 8 on set pieces. He looks a threat from taking set pieces, whether he's delivering crosses or shooting from them. So that is something to consider. This week as well, Newcastle have a home fixture, which is high owned as well, so it's not too different, but I think sometimes high ownership players are highly owned for a reason. After this then, I'm choosing 2 defenders from the same team, and that is Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson. We're back from injury, and I didn't think Trent was going to be back this early. He played in the game today against Man City, which I think took a lot of people by surprise. I think both of them obviously have a massive upside, and they're playing against West Ham this week. Both of them are on set pieces, both of them can create chances, both of them can get goals. They also kept a clean sheet today against Man City, so West Ham aren't Man City. Next up is midfield, and Mason Mount is the next player that I'm going to recommend. Out of this team, he's the only player that I'm recommending who's playing away from home. He scored 2 goals this game week, and one of them was his reactions being excellent to a Tyrone Mings mistake, and the other was a very good free kick. He wasn't overly involved in the game, and the best player in that team, well, for Chelsea, was Kepa, who kept them in the game. Mason Mount, though, looks like he's getting back to form. He scored 2 goals, obviously, and Brentford, I'm not really sure what to make of them. Against Newcastle, they looked terrible, but then, obviously, they looked very good against Brighton this weekend. Given his form, it's an interesting pick, and he could pick up some different points. It's not somebody I'd consider in a normal team, but for a 1-week punt, I guess it is. Next up is Leandro Trossard. Trossard is one of the best captaincy shouts this week, and I think he's going to be quite highly owned, and I think he's also going to be transferred in by a lot of people. Brighton, though, I'm not too sure about. Since the derbies came in, he scored a hat-trick against Liverpool, but the 2 games after it weren't so impressive. They lost 1-0 to Spurs, and then they lost 2-0 to Brentford. So these are confusing results for a team that I'm not really sure where to put after Graham Potter's left. Trossard, though, has looked offensive, and in good ways, not in the type of way that he'll get cancelled for. Trossard, as an attacking midfielder, he's playing quite high up, he's getting lots of shots, he's getting touches in the box. He's an interesting option to have, and I think he'll be one of the better captaincy options this week, but he won't be the captaincy suggestion I suggest for a free hit. Next up is Wilfried Zaha. Zaha, he's frustrating. He's a moan bag, but he's a good player. He's on penalties, and sometimes it looks like the only way he's going to score is from a penalty. I think he's a good player, obviously, but he's hot and cold. He's like Katy Perry. I think, obviously, Wolves at home, he could get a goal. He could maybe get 2. I'm not sure what to make of Wolves. I think they don't have a manager yet still, and it's something interesting to keep an eye on. He's one of those players who's got a high ceiling. Next up is Mohamed Salah. He's going to be my suggestion for a captaincy this week. He looked very good against Man City. He's breaking the lines, playing far more central, and there seems to be a change in tactics for Liverpool. Well, at least over the last couple of games. Liverpool haven't been great this season, but with the change in tactics, he does look like he's playing more on the inside than sticking to the wing. As well as that, he had 2 golden chances against City. One of them produced an excellent save from Ederson, and then the other one was a goal. He looks like he's getting into more predominant shooting positions. Apart from that, he also had a chance at the end of the game where Darwin Núñez didn't square the ball to him, and he could have had a brace. So he's looking like he could be getting back to his best. Next up is up front, and the first selection that we have is Callum Wilson. Wilson obviously played against Man United this weekend, didn't score, but probably should have had a penalty against Varane. He's on penalties for Newcastle. He's a good player. He gets behind lines. He's always running, and Isaac is out. Everton, though, look good defensively, but I think he's one of the best options this game week. Newcastle as well create so many chances, and he tends to get on the end of them. He's a good player, a good pick, and he's one of the best forward options this game week. After this is Dominic Solanke. He's been in pretty good form over the last couple of game weeks. He's pretty much getting hauls, and he's so lowly owned, and I think this game week could be a great enabler, especially considering him playing Southampton, where Southampton don't know how to keep clean sheets. So he's probably going to either get a goal or assist. Him and Billing seem to be making a good partnership and creating lots for each other and scoring lots together. The final pick for this week is Harry Kane. He comes up against Man United, and his form is so incredibly insane. He keeps on scoring goals, he keeps getting assists, and they just keep on getting penalties. Spurs are not playing quite well, but they're getting results. It's something to consider, and he seems to just be scoring. Every time he's scoring as well, he's getting 3 bonus points. So he'll probably get you 9 points this week if they win against Man United. Man United are a lot better than they were last season under Ralf Rangnick, but still there are issues in the defence. They're still conceding goals, and they're still not looking fully solid. It's something to consider, especially if Varane isn't able to play the midweek game. Harry Kane is likely to continue his goal scoring streak, and he could be a captaincy option for a lot of people who don't own players like Salah or Trossard. Then I'm not really going to bore you with the bench. Ward is on there, obviously, where he's there, Jacob Murphy, and then Totti. All these players, they're not going to, but I want players who are probably going to play in case there's rotation. I can't imagine there'll be a lot of rotation here. Maybe I'm taking a risk with Trent Alexander-Arnold. One of the main reasons I chose Mount over Sterling was because there's a second game in the midweek, and Potter looks like a bit of a troll. Mason Mount seems to play every game under every manager because his fitness levels are elite. And then the rest of the players, I think, are pretty essential for their teams. Trippier, Trossard, Zaha, they're all talismanic players who are all important. So anyway, yeah, if you've liked this video, please do subscribe. It helps the channel grow. Click like. Put a comment down below and I'll try to get back to you. Yeah, anyway, I've been Paddy. Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully see you soon.